Hello and good evening and good morning from wherever you're at. This is Rick. I'm here with the Funded Project, and we're going to go over tips on how people scam people in funding. I'm going to tell you why I'm doing this. So back in 2012, I was a victim of one of these funding scams, and it basically screwed up one of my businesses, caused everything to shut down. And over the past 6 months, Metro Media Funding Solutions has identified 14 different scam lenders and has been working with the authorities as well as leaders in the industry to shut them down and also make sure that we remove the offending parties from the funding space. Now, I also want you guys to understand there's some key words that scammers use in their communications that, we just need to understand this, okay? When you catch emails and they say, hey, kindly send this, or hi, dears, or confirm us post, or sirs with an S, or ma'ams with an S, I got to tell you, there's been so much of this type of nonsense, and we see it all the time. And it's getting worse. I know the pandemic has been tough on some people. It's like this guy right here. You see this picture right here? I'm sure you guys see it right here. Yeah, and look, this guy, he basically came to us because he wanted to move out of Barbara. I don't even know what that is. And I was like, erotic. What do we need to do to make this happen? And he said, I spend my money on fixing church here. And I may need money for flights and visas and other things. I was like, well, slap my body in. Oh my goodness, I just went ham on that one right there. I had a good time right there with that one because I see these people happen all the time. This is just so ridiculous sometimes. I want you guys to kind of keep an eye out for some things here, okay? Unsolicited emails from random email servers. Now look, there are people that are working remotely still, even because of the pandemic, especially if they're from California and New York. There's a lot of them that are going to work on, from home right now. And some of those guys, they may use Yahoo emails, Gmail email addresses and stuff, and that's okay? But if it's unsolicited or something like that, it just means that you just need to do a little bit more research, okay? That's all it is. Unsolicited Facebook friends requests, I catch these all the time, okay? They happen every single day. Here's some things I just kind of want you to look at. If you're looking for funding and somebody starts sending you Facebook friends requests, I just want to see, first off, check to see if you guys have any mutual friends or if there's any life events for that person. Also, I just want you to kind of just keep an eye out on some things, okay? Check that profile out a little bit. Unsolicited telemarketing calls from numbers you cannot call back. If somebody starts doing that to you, you probably shouldn't do business with that company, okay? But today, we're going to test your knowledge and see if you can point out the scammer in these next couple of pics. The next several images will show you. I just want you to answer to yourself, okay? Is this person real or are they a scam? And believe me when I tell you this, we've dug into every single last one of these, okay? And that's part of what the Funded Project does. We'll check out and find out if this person's real or if they're not before you go and do anything like that. So we're going to see. Let's see how well your scam detector works today. Let's go. All right, the first person up on contestants row. So this poor lady right here, and she's actually really nice, and she's in the Indianapolis Facebook group. I'm not going to tell you which one. But she said that her business plan was finished, and after a month, she was working with this business coach, and now she needs to find funding for her business, and she was scared that she was going to be rejected by her bank. All right, this business coach, whoever you are, you already failed her. You want to know why? Because you should already have had that lined up and kind of worked out before she started doing everything else and going into business and everything. I mean, why wouldn't you have it worked out? That's a whole different talk show. We'll talk about that sometime. But she added this post in a Facebook group on Facebook that I happen to be a part of right there. And we're going to talk about some of the replies that she got. Remember, this is a local group, and it's in Indianapolis, Indiana. And but these are local neighbors and friends. And I mean, I'm from Indianapolis originally. I'm up in Anderson now. But I have a lot of friends and family down that way still. And we're going to take a look at some of the replies that she got, okay? And let's just dig in. Pay close attention, okay? So the first reply that she had received was from this gentleman. I blocked out his name and everything else too because, this isn't that kind of a party. But he came back, he said, my team helped sort out loans from the British Business Bank. Read that with me. My team helped sort out loans from the British Business Bank. It didn't read really well. All right, so this is how we're going to start this little thing off here. I want you to look close to the way he phrased it, but then we're also going to look into the British Business Bank. Okay, I haven't heard of this organization. Well, it's probably because it's in Britain, and well, we're in the United States, and in the middle of that too. This is Indiana. So, well, we're going to go ahead and dig into it just a little bit. Who is British Business Bank? So I go ahead and go look them up. All right, so I'll find a dandy. British Business Bank. They're out of the UK. Everything from the first look, it looks fine. Lots of tabs. Everything's looking pretty fine with the company right there, okay? But they're in Britain, so I'm not quite sure what they're going to do for you in Indiana, but okay. So we're going to look at the domain name first, okay? The first thing I want you guys to always look out for is what's called subdomains, okay? Like, Bob's Funding, .businesssite.com, that type of stuff. Okay, so if they're using what's called a subdomain instead of a .com or .net or .org or .biz, that means that's a subdomain and they're using a free website service instead of hosting their own websites. And now, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of businesses that start off with that type of stuff, but we're talking about funding here, folks. So I'm going to be a little bit stricter about what I expect from these funding companies than what I would expect from somebody that may be just selling logos. Okay? I'm going to be a little bit tougher on these guys. The business is definitely real, but wait, there's cookies, and these aren't the kind of cookies that, C is for Cookie Monster cookies. No. These are cookies that we have to go ahead and take a look at, because if you don't know what a cookie is, I need you to understand, okay? A cookie is a text file or a small piece of data that you may have like a username and a password for you to access that website, or maybe there's a some type of a identifying factor that shows it's you and your computer, your cell phone on that website right there. Now, okay, we're going to straighten up something here, okay? Websites need to have some type of cookies. Every website has to have some type of essential or functional cookies to operate with it, okay? They don't run without them, okay? There's some type of cookies that website has to have. There are some things that it does not have to have, such as like the analytics or the advertising. Now, the analytics cookies, that helps the website owner to be able to understand their customer traffic, to better understand how they can service their customers better. They're not necessarily bad. I got a little bit of a problem with the advertising cookies right here. So advertising cookies right here, when I went into this, it means that they can sell your information to pretty much whoever they feel like selling your information to. Now, I don't know about you. My information's not for sale. Okay, so I don't want my information being sold. I'm pretty sure that you don't either. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and turn off the ones that we want. Okay, because what happens is that you'll notice when you go onto this guy's website, there's a big blue box right there that says accept cookies. And then there's this little itty bitty tab that says, let's see what the cookies are. Well, I click that little box right there because I want to see what the cookies are, so I can go ahead and shut off the stuff that I don't really want out there, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and dig into this a little bit more. I want to dig into the person who shared this. Now, keep in mind, this gentleman right here, I blacked out his name. He says he buys businesses, and he also loves to mentor, and he's ambitious, and he's the chief guru covering the United States and the United Kingdom for the British Business Bank. Okay, that's interesting. And you so happen to be in the Indianapolis Facebook group, at least you were, and so I reported you. But there's something a little bit different right here. Okay, now keep in mind that when you go look at somebody's profile and you're in a Facebook group right there, you have what's called a commerce profile that'll pop up. Now, what you'll have to do is that you'll have to make sure that you click into their main profile. Now, if you're on a desktop, and I always recommend if you're doing something like this, you probably should do it into the desktop, you'll be able to see the little person-looking thing right there with the head inside of a circle right there that says main profile. Click that, okay? I'm always going to want to look at the main profile. I don't care about your commerce profile. I care about what's going on with you as a person, because now we're talking about doing financial business. I want to know who the hell you are. So we're always going to start looking at the following right here. When did you join Facebook? How long has this profile been in here? Are these pictures that you're showing on Facebook, are they of yourself and your family? Is this like your regular, real Facebook profile? Do people comment on it? Or is this just a profile that was built for the intent to market? I understand why some people have those types of profiles right there. But you know what the thing is that I'd much rather do business with somebody that I could see that is real. So who is this clown? All right, so let's remember the original post. It showed a profile picture. At first glance, it was good content. So we're going to have to find out, is this guy real? So I dug into it. His profile was about 5 years old. He had about 300 friends. He was randomly picking a few at glance. And I just turned around and started looking at some of the friends I was able to see. Well, they're real people too. I didn't bother anybody. I just wanted to see, is this person real? Is he real or is he fake? Well, we've already identified that the website was a data collection tool with the advertising cookies that it had showing blatantly obvious when I went in there to find out what the cookies were. So it makes us wonder, what about this guy? Is he real? Let's go ahead and look into it. Nope, he was a scammer. I'm going to tell you how I came across this conclusion because this stuff was kind of comical right here. The cookies, remember, they were advertising cookies. We already covered that. That's old news. So as I'm digging into the website and reminding you that he said that he was the head guru, like he's the big boy. He's the one that's in charge of all of it. Now wait just pick a minute right here, just a minute. Here's the thing. I looked into that website. He's not listed anywhere. Now, there's plenty of other people there's about 30 or 40 other people right there, but he's not on that list right there. So if he's this high up on that company right there, it seems like he should be listed onto that website right there too, right? Well, at least I would think so. So I did what any respectful YouTuber would do. I went ahead and reached out and I asked him for his extension or company email address. And he came back with a mail.com email. And he asked me to email him my company name, my personal name, and my phone number. Well, you know what? We're going to go ahead and play along just for you. So I went ahead and I set up a burner email account just for these types of occasions right here. I even set up a burner phone number so we could go ahead and play along. He immediately called me, and it came from a Seattle phone number. Okay, so that's not a big deal. Okay, so your bank, British business bank, is out of Seattle or out of the British UK or whatever. Maybe you have a satellite location in Seattle. Okay, no big deal. I can respect that. That's fine. He says he's going to email me a paper application, which he did. He emailed me a paper application, which at that point, I am to print this paper application out, fill it out fully and completely, and text it to him with a picture of my ID front and back, and my Social Security card front and back. Okay, so whoa, that's not going to happen right there. So I'll play along for the minute and 37 seconds that we're on the phone, and I call the number back, and it goes to a Google Voice number. So I went ahead and hung up. There's nothing wrong with Google Voice numbers either, because a lot of businesses have used those during the pandemic. So that way they don't have to turn around and run with their employees' cell phone numbers and everything. Okay, that's fine and dandy, but there's just too much going on right here. A little too much hair in the deal, okay? So it's time for him to get off his high horse right here. So here's the issue with this donkey, okay? Well, I'm just never going to email you or text you a handwritten application. Any reputable company, especially in the funding space, okay, remind you, I'm going to hold these guys at a higher expectation than I would for somebody that's just selling, let's say, for instance, I don't know, consumer financing. Okay, that's not a great example. Maybe somebody that's selling copy machines or something, okay? I could understand that. So if they're selling copy machines, they might have a handwritten application for financing the copy machine. I don't know. Irrelevant. My thing is that you're talking about funding another business, so I'm going to expect that you would have some fail-safes into place. Some of those fail-safes I'm going to expect for you to have in place is something like a hello sign or a DocuSign, Adobe sign, maybe a Conga sign, something along the lines. There's 80 or 90 different companies that I'd seen on Google on the first glance that do these electronic signature services, okay? And here's why you should deal with a funding company that uses those. It has a point of origination that service is going to show where the application came from. It's also going to show a point of where it went to, where you fill it out and signed it, and it's going to show a point of origination of where it goes back. So in case anything ever happens, you now have a piece of tracking to figure out if there's an offending party in there, so you have some type of a fail-safe to protect yourself. It's really a good thing to have right there, okay? I really just don't believe in the paper applications, not one bit. And furthermore, if you do happen to use, and I understand that some of the smaller broker shops and stuff out there, they may use a paper application. There's nothing wrong with that for them. But regardless, fax it in, email it back, or something along the lines. You should never take a picture of something like that and text it to anybody you're working with, even if they're a direct company, whatever it is. It should never happen that way. So, what should one do? Well, you could you can ask that rep, is there a fax number that I can verify? Or, can I check that fax number on your website? Is there some type of way that I can verify that this rep actually works with this company? See if there's an electronic version of the application. I would ask them for it, so if that's the case. Even you could ask for references. It'd be like, hey, who have you worked with in the past, or any of that type of stuff. Don't be afraid to ask them for some references, okay? References are not a bad thing. You're certainly going to get references before you hire somebody to put a roof on your house. You should definitely get references before you start talking to somebody about who's going to fund your business. I don't think that's too much to ask for. So my decision on this one right here, 100% this guy was a scammer. The company is also a victim on this guy right here too, okay? Because the British Business Bank, it's actually a real organization. However, the guy that was promoting it, he is not. He was a scammer. And because the offending party sent me this paper application with no company name on it, from a mail.com email address, and he wanted it texted back, that's just too much going on right there, okay? I could understand the email or something like that because maybe he was working remote. I'm not really a big fan of that, but I could be somewhat forgiving about that type of stuff because of the pandemic. But you wanted me to take a picture of this with my telephone and text it back to you. I'm not okay with that. It should be noted that we came to the conclusion of him being a scammer because of that. Also, that application had no company name on it, no address. So if they actually do use a paper application, on all occasions, that application should have the company name, that rep's full name. It also should have things such as, maybe like the address, website, phone number, a fax number, something that ties that business to that application. At no occasion should you ever fill out a blank one. It's just not a good idea. Okay, so if you're enjoying this video, if you feel like you're getting something from it, or if you feel it warm and fuzzy because of it, don't forget to stop by our store at thefundedproject.com. That's where we sell merchandise such as like these really cool t-shirts. And that's how we actually support this channel right here. Okay, so definitely come and check us out. This next one right here, I love this one right here. He sat there and came back on my little post right there, my little catfish post right there, if you will, and said he can help. He has 8 slots left for the SBA loan, and I don't use your social or need it. Message me now. Okay, hold on. So I went ahead and messaged this guy because I was just like, are you serious? Look, the whole 8 slots left for SBA loan thing right there. The SBA is going to accept applications unlimited, okay? It does not matter. There's no such thing as like, hey, you only have so many slots left. I mean, I could understand, there's only so many slots left if you're running for the pole position at the Indianapolis 500. But come on, guys, get a grip here. Can we get real here for just a moment? And then you didn't need any of my personal information? What in the hell is that? So that's not real. So this one right here, now, I love this one right here. And this one was a little bit older when I started looking into these companies right here. In our services, we offer 100% unsecured loan with 5% interest rate per annual for a period of 1 to 35 years, plus a 1-year grace period with no early repayment penalty. Please reply BACS. He said BACS with an S. Like I should do it more than once. I mean, I guess in terms like that. Oh, sure. Yeah, of course. If you are interested to provide you with further details, email me. And then he come back with a Gmail and a WhatsApp and all that type of stuff. Okay, I understand a lot of people are working remote once again. Okay, so maybe the Gmail is okay. The WhatsApp thing, that's not acceptable under any occasion, okay? I want a real phone number where I can look it up and I can cross-reference that phone number to your business, period. It's not acceptable. If I have your cell phone number, that's one thing, but I also want to have your office number too. I want to be able to have both. WhatsApp, no, absolutely not, okay? So I'm definitely smelling some caca right here, if you will. And these people have to start somewhere, okay? But come on, let's have a little bit of effort right here. If you have to hide behind a WhatsApp number and behind a Gmail address, chances are better than likely, well, you're, what is that, phony baloney? Yeah, that's it. That's totally it. So it's your turn. Let's look at these. Are they real or are they fake? Let's watch the rest of this and find out. So this guy is like, hello, I blank, a financial business consultant with blank. We help small business owners properly prepare for the current or future funding from banks and other financial institutions. We also offer the PPP loan. If I could be of help to anyone, please reach out to me and I'll be more than happy to help. Have a good day. All right, so I was digging into this one right here. Now, she was real, okay? And here's why I know she was. Her personal profile page, she had it listed that she was working for the company that she said that she was working for. Everything checked out. She turned around and sent us a DocuSign application. She explained to me the difference. She was actually really receptive and everything else. I went ahead and sent her a couple $100 just for participating with us because I told her what I was doing right here. She had a real security certificate. That's great. So, there are real ones out there. You just have to do a little bit of homework on there. So let me know how you did in the comments. Did you think that she was real or that she was fake? All right, so we're going to read this one out loud together right here, okay? And yes, that is original artwork with the dog peeing on the guy's foot right there. Yes, I absolutely love it too. Then you got to tell me, this company, Blank Services, you needing a loan for your business. If you need my help with any of my services I just listed, please reach out and we can connect. Blank, I look forward to working with you. On first look, it looks like he put it together right, and everything looked like it was okay. All right, so there's different levels of bogus, I guess. This guy was definitely a fake. He wasn't even he was so bogus that he was a step below the store brand Kool-Aid type of a bogus right there. It was just absolutely horrible. Oh my goodness, it was a knockoff. It was like a knockoff of a store brand. That was just absolutely horrible. He turned around and he was like, hey, can you go ahead and he just wanted to go ahead and have me give him my bank login and password. Didn't ask for bank statements. Didn't ask for an application. He wanted my login to my bank account first. It was the very first thing he said to me when he called. Are you shitting me? No, not happening. Okay? He pitched like that. Now this next one right here. Now this guy right here. You ever heard of the mashup before? He pitched 3 different products right there at the same time. The merchant cash advance is not a loan, okay? I repeat, it is not a traditional loan. You are not going to close real estate deals in 2 days, okay? I don't care if you have a very motivated seller and one of the best title clerks you could ever come across and you have everything lined up. That does not happen, okay? Okay, so maybe it could happen maybe once out of every 1,000 cases, but as a general rule of thumb, that doesn't happen right there. We have many different loan programs available, including equipment financing, startup financing, and most types of real estate loans. Must be in business for at least 4 months. Funding is typically done within 24 to 48 hours. Okay, so in a merchant cash advance, you're right. Funding can be done within 24 to 48 hours. That's what people get attracted to them for, is because they fund fast. Now, they're a little bit more expensive than a traditional loan, but they fund fast. They don't have the stiffs. They don't have the issues. They don't have the credit requirements that a lot of the traditional loans may have. That's what makes them attractive. That's the trade-off. However, it's not a real estate loan like that. If you're going for a traditional real estate loan, it's not going to fund in 48 hours, okay? I don't care who you are. Inbox me for information about our loans. Nowhere does he talk about that some of this might be advances. Thank you, USA businesses. We say yes. Loans from 5K to 25, whatever he was supposed to do right there. All right, so this one right here was a little bit special. So I decided to go ahead and figure out what this guy was about. So he's a real merchant cash advance broker, someplace out in New York, but he's kind of a crappy one at that too. So we followed up on this shop, and we decided to go ahead and play along with it because we had been setting this up. We've been working on this project for a few months, and he basically told me that if I took his advance and only his advance and paid perfectly for 30 days, that he would get me $1.5 million. That the company I was predicating this off of is one of my businesses that does like $20,000 a month. Okay, it's not going to qualify for $1.5 million. Here are some facts for you to think about when you come to choosing a funding broker right there. If you take out a merchant cash advance, yes, you can build a good payment history with somebody and you can get additional funding from them and they'll work with you. And depending on the funder, they may actually turn around and go out a little bit longer with you. They may give you a little bit more money. They'll work with you and they'll be on your side, and they'll always be on your side if you do them right, and they'll do you right, okay? They're not going to turn around and on a, 120-day deal, come back out after 30 days and say, well, I'm going to go ahead and convert this $20,000 advance to $1.5 million. That does not happen. Get that out of your mind right now, okay? He's an absolute dumpster fire. I absolutely did not like this guy. I turned him over. This is an absolute complete shit show right here, okay? That's what this broker was. Here's some facts I want you to think about when it comes to choosing funding brokers, and you should know this, okay? Funding brokers are actually independent sales organizations, and a lot of these funding companies will use independent sales organizations to help them to get clients. And the reason why is because it's cheaper than to having that type of an overhead inside your office. And it's especially if you're out on the East Coast. I mean, you think about the overhead out on the East Coast versus what it is in the Midwest. I mean, it is going to be cheaper for them to actually hire a third-party company to bring them the offers. There's nothing wrong with this practice either. And a lot of times, I want you guys to understand, there are more good funding brokers out there than there are bad. But the bad ones, well, they're the worst right there. You see my donkey right here. We put a crown on him. Isn't that cute? So, yeah, here's what you need to know about picking out a good ISO broker. Is that ISO broker working with the company? Can you look up that company online? Are they independent? Okay, that's fine. Some of the nice trade-offs about working with some of the smaller shops is that you will get better customer experience right there, okay? But the problem is that they may not have the technology to be able to help you out the way that you need to be helped out. So there is some trade-off about what size shop or what kind of broker you should work with. Can you connect with others that work inside that ISO company to verify your contact? Does that ISO company have a website presence? Are you able to look up the ISO company, not just the funder that they're talking to you about, but that actual company? Another thing, and guys, this is really important, okay? I want you guys to really understand this. You really should work with local ISO companies to your area, where you can meet them in person, where you can stop by their office, where you can have a relationship with them. If you live in Ohio or Indiana or Kentucky or something like that, you really shouldn't be dealing with some company that's calling you randomly out of New York or New Jersey. Come on. It doesn't really work well for you, okay? If you're in Atlanta and you're dealing with somebody from Atlanta, that's one thing. If you're in Indianapolis dealing with somebody from Ohio, okay, that's somewhat acceptable. But you know what? There's companies in Indiana too. You should really try to work with somebody that's local to your area, not somebody that's 17 states away from you. Come on, folks, let's keep it together here. Do they offer you a secured application? I also want you to think about this too. Do they speak to you in a way that you can understand them? Do they answer your call, or do you have to wait for them to call you? Do you have multiple ways to contact them? Is there an email address, a phone number, and an office phone number? Can you verify their quality through maybe asking them for a reference or two for somebody that they've worked with in the past? I mean, I think these are very important things that you should be able to ask any of these funding brokers. And it feels like we exposed some of the trade secrets right here. And you probably wonder, why would you do that? Well, the Funded Project, it's a safe place for businesses to be able to collaborate for resources, regardless of where you go or who you use. We want you to be educated about this industry here, okay? And we're going to be uploading videos in the future about web services. We're going to be uploading future videos about consumer financing, payroll services, and anything that's business-related, service-related type of industry right here, because we want people to understand, what the difference is between the good apples and the bad apples out here. So now that we've had the meat and potatoes, it's dessert time right here. I need you guys to understand that some of these funding brokers out here, look, there's some of them that are good people. Maybe they work for a company that's substantially large. But in all cases, in a merchant cash advance especially, you need to pay attention to what I'm going to tell you here. There's what's called a professional service fee agreement. And some of these companies out there put a third-party PSF fee agreement sheet inside their agreements. Okay, so I mean, if you got funded through, let's say you get funded through Black Capital or something like that, and and your funding broker over here is Bob's funding broker agency or whatever, and Bob puts in a fee agreement on top of the fees that you would have to pay for your funding, that is already built into your funding agreement, that professional fee agreement is nothing more than sheer profit for that ISO shop, okay? So you should definitely, if you see that come across, if you get to a point where you're getting ready to fund, watch your contract very closely. If you see a professional fee agreement, professional service fee agreement inside that funding contract, you need to contact the funder directly that's actually listed on the top of that contract and ask them if they know anything about that, for one. For two, you need to also make sure that it's probably time to look for somebody else to do that deal with you. That's not okay for you guys to have that in there, okay? Because that's your money that you're giving away right there. Another thing is that these funding brokers will tell you, oh, you can get renewals at 30, 40, 50% or something like that. Yes, you're right. There are some cases that some merchants are available to get renewals at those types of terms. However, it is my recommendation that you should always wait until you're at least 72% paid off. Now, I'm going to tell you why. You're always going to end up with a better term. You're always going to end up with more money, and you're going to end up with a better factor rate in a situation like that because you've shown that you can go for the long haul and pay it off. And it's going to put you into a little bit better of a position in that situation. Realistically, I'd much rather see you guys pay them all the way off and then go out and get another one after the fact if you need to use another one at that point. If that's the case, if you have to do something like that. Another thing is, too, and I also want you guys to pay really close attention to this. If your business is doing less than $60,000 a month in revenue, you should not, in any case, have more than one of these at one time, okay? Because if you're dealing with the merchant cash advance, this is a future receivable contract right there. That's not a loan. That means that you basically sold off a part of your future receivables for cash now. Future receivables is your future income. So if you sell that off to 2 or 3 different companies, you're going to realize you'll choke your company out on revenue right there, okay? And if you're doing less than $60,000 a month and you've got 2 or 3 people pulling out of there, well, that's kind of a mess right there, okay? So don't put yourself into that type of situation. This is another thing that's kind of important. A merchant cash advance should be used as a formula, right? And that formula, you should be able to calculate of your business and yourself being able to profit even after your payments are made right there with the merchant cash advance. You should always take that into the calculation before you take it. Because if your profit margin is only 10% and they're taking 20%, that means that you're going to cause your company to fall into reverse, and you may not have even understood that. I also am going to tell you guys some of these last tips right here, and then we're out of here, okay? Listen, never, ever, 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 ever pay anything upfront for funding. Never, no. Do not do it. I don't care what the story is. They can call it due diligence fees. They can call it this type of fee, that type of thing, whatever it is. Don't do it. Bad news. Okay? If somebody's asking you for money for application fee or any of that type of stuff, run the other direction because it means that they are a scam. I don't care what they say. It's not worth it. Do not ever pay a dime upfront for funding. Funders may not know what their ISO rep is doing, okay? So you should always keep in good communication with the funder if you get funded by somebody through one of these ISO shops. No one should ever call you from overseas, okay? Not one party, okay? If you live in the United States, you need to be dealing with United States people. If you live in the UK, you need to be dealing with UK people. No one's going to cross the pond to fund you, period. I don't care what they have to say. It's not happening. If it sounds too good to be true, then it's too good to be true, okay? Like I said, I'm holding the funding industry at a higher standard, okay? And that's the standard we're going to say. If it sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true. So I definitely appreciate you guys watching this here. And if you ever find out that you do need funding with your business, you can collaborate with the Funded Project. Now, as you may already know, the Funded Project is backed by Metro Media Funding Solutions. But even if Metro Media Funding Solutions is not the proper fit for you, the Funded Project would still help you to find somebody that is, okay? There's plenty of different funding platforms that we can refer you to so that way you can shop and get the best deal for your business. I do not want anybody to feel like they have to go through Metro Media Funding Solutions just because it's part of the Funded Project. That's not the case at all. I'd much rather help you and educate you than to watch you have to turn around and go someplace where you don't feel comfortable. We always recommend that you use a business development company, though, over a merchant cash advance company, over one of these business funding companies when it comes to getting funding for your business. Because there's other resources inside those types of organizations that will help you out in growing your business. I definitely appreciate you guys watching this. So make sure you like and subscribe, hit that bell so you can keep up when we upload new videos. Okay, you guys have a great day. Thanks again for watching.